Hey everybody, welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Doc Severson. Today is Ready Set Crypto Live, and we're coming to you Wednesday, the 29th of March. Welcome aboard, folks. Check in as you can. Let us know where you're coming in from. Give us a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. That allows other people to know what's going on out there. All right, let's see who we got out there. We've got Jack from Darwin, and we got Seb coming in from Florida. Good to be back. Good to see you again, Seb. All right. So we're going to be, the way we do this is we're going to be here for maybe the next half hour or so, 25 minutes, something like that. Hey, Ike from Texas, welcome aboard. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to start things off by looking at a couple of crypto assets here, certainly some of the top two or three. And then what I will do is look for your suggestions, your coins. What do you guys want to look at? And we'll do that, right? So I don't really particularly care about any specific project. If you ask me about whether I think a project is good or not, what I will always do is defer to the market. The market is much bigger than you and I put together. And it is the ultimate arbiter of value as to whether or not a project is good. If a project is crap, the market will interpret that and you'll see a very, very low price or you'll see a bad downtrend. If the market has potential to accumulate in the next 6 to 9 months or so, you will see it start to rip. We're starting to see a lot of cryptos ripping today in today's market, over the last couple of weeks especially. So this is a great sign. This is something we've been waiting for a long time. We got Rajith coming in from Austria. We got Maf coming in from Seattle. We got Ronnie from Columbus, Ohio, Flavortown, USA. We have Jaro coming in from Vancouver. We have Tuckafu coming in from, I don't know where Tuckafu is. And let's see, we got Tito checking in. We got Zachariah. Hello. Good to see everybody out there. All right. Again, let us know where you're coming in from. Love to see where folks are waking up to. Or let's see, we got Tuckafu's coming in from Bay Area. I was just out there not a week ago in the Bay Area, right? I got out of there before the really bad weather came. So that was like a week and a half ago we were out there. We went up to Sonoma and hung around San Francisco for a day. And man, that's a tough place to walk around. Fremont, California today. All right. So let's see who else. Tito coming in from Helsinki. All right. Well, let me get things started off here, and then I'll take your guys' lead once we get to that point. So obviously BTC is the big dog in the space. We've come down to the 200-day moving average. The thing that I love to see here is on the weekly chart, and I'm going to get rid of these fibs for just a second. The weekly chart has, and this is something I'm always harping on you guys about. Let's see, where is let me get my pen going here, guys. Let's get my pen going here so I can talk and write at the same time. All right, there we go. So one thing I'm always, I guess harping on you guys about is I want to see weekly uptrends. I want to see weekly uptrends before. So many of us have been like buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip, all the way down into the ground. And that's where people finally quit. They just say, I can't do this anymore because they're not patient enough to wait for the accumulation. Unless you want to play it to the short side, that's great. But I think for most people, playing it to the long side, you're going to be better off over time. You don't have to pay interest on things. You don't have to set yourself up for unlimited risk. And generally, there is a positive drift to most financial markets anyway. So why not just go with the flow? Don't fight the tide. So the weekly chart here, when we have a weekly chart heading higher, you're going to see this is what we talked about. Now, so many people are whining about, oh, we're below the 200-week moving average. Oh, short Bitcoin, short Bitcoin. Come on. I mean, seriously, nobody watches the 200-week moving average. So anyway, we did put in a higher low. We've broken it to a higher high. This is now accumulation mode. We are into accumulation mode. And so we need to be smart about where we pick things up. All right, who else is coming in there? Let's see, Esther from Chicago. And we got RJ coming in from Santa Fe, New Mexico. All right. I have not been, that may be one state that's on my bucket list. I think I'm down to maybe 5 states, RJ, that I have not been to, and most of them are out west, and one of them is New Mexico. I've not been through New Mexico. I got New Mexico, Montana. Let's see, what else do I have? Idaho. Not been to Idaho, not been to Alaska, and I'm down to about those last 4 or 5. Been to every place else, at least in the continental states. Been to Hawaii. All right, so this is what's going on right now. So that's all good. Let me go back here for a second. Now, something else that's worth our pursuing here is some of the tools that we've been talking about, the anchored volume weighted average price, anchored VWAP. So in this case, I've got the blue line, the yellow line, and the red line, right? The red line is the 50-day moving average. I've only got 2 anchored VWAPs here. The yellow line is for the recent low. The blue line is for the beginning of the year. Those are enough, I'd say, for right now. So we need to view these as potential dynamic support. View them as dynamic support. So what we have right now going on with BTC is a little bit of a, I don't know if I call this a flag pattern. Flag patterns are usually slightly downsloping from here, but it's certainly nice range contraction mode. And if we look over here at the fractals, we can see that it is pretty well wound up and it's just on the verge of breaking out. Where do I find the anchored VWAP indicator in TradingView? Well, there's a lot of them that you can look for. So if you just go over to indicators and start searching on anchored VWAP like this, there's a lot of them that you can find, right? So a lot of these are, I think here's one that you just click on the levels that you want. Let me see the ones that I used were what? Let's take a look at this. I don't know who wrote this one. I don't know where this one came from, but they're all kind of the same. And so all I'm doing is manually setting up the anchor for these, but TradingView has got tons of them, just about every charting platform. TrendSpider's got a built-in one, which is real nice. So great question, Tyler. So that's BTC. BTC looks really good right now. So when we zoom back in, or zoom out in this case, and look at the monthly chart, we can see that this is just a big swing to the upside. Now, what might have to happen is we may have to see something like this. We may have to see a big swing up and a swing down. This is going to be disappointing, but we may have to do the same thing. We haven't transitioned to an uptrend yet on the monthly chart. So we may have to come back down to like 25 or something like that and kick in the monthly chart and once we kick into the monthly swing to the upside, this thing is going to rock and roll, right? But I think right now we're getting away from a trader's market and more into accumulation. So look to accumulate on pullbacks is what you want to do. All right, let's look at some of the other ones here. Ethereum, you can see Ethereum has bounced off of the most recent anchored VWAP right here. That is going to be dynamic support coming off of the bottom of the move back here on 10th of March. And Binance Coin's going through their own little FUD because they got the CFTC on their case. They're trying to, what is going on with this administration? They're going after Coinbase, they're going after Binance, they're going after everybody. I'll tell you why, because what they want to do is they want to get a central bank digital currency going. What's wrong with that, you might ask? What's wrong with a CBDC? That would be cool. We can have digital money and denominated in dollars. Well, guess what? There's going to be all kinds of strings attached to that. And actually, doesn't matter. I don't care what you think of him, but at least a guy by the name of Ron DeSantis has already put his foot down and said, you won't bring these into the state of Florida. Wow. Okay, so that's good. We at least have somebody that understands the potential harm that these things should do. So what's going to happen is a lot of mainstream politicians are going to do everything in their world that they can to get rid of crypto as we know it, or at least push it offshore, which is going to be a huge mistake. So anyway, I don't want to turn this into politics. I just want you guys to be aware that CBDCs are going to get crammed down your throat if you live here in the United States, as well as if you're in, a Euro state or something like that. The same thing's going to happen. They're going to be cramming these things down, into whatever Klaus Schwab wants. So that's enough of that for right now. Now, what's really smoking today is something that I've given zero respect to for years, which has been XRP or Ripple Labs. So I've been laughing about this one, repeatedly for years because it's just been crap. It's just been a crap chart. It hasn't performed with anything else, but is showing that it wants to potentially break out of this basing pattern down here. So this basing pattern tops out at about 55. And the way that you can look at this is the upside measured move is going to be about the depth of this basing pattern. So that puts it up pretty close to about 90 cents. So this may be a measure move. It's able to achieve escape velocity above 55. Next target is about 90 cents. And there's very little resistance up here at this level because that was such a quick move down. It tends to go back up at the same rate. Is there anything you can do to clear up the resolution? So what you've got to do, Chris, I would say it's probably easier to do on your side. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring over let's see, is this the right thing? Yeah, I'm going to bring over a window of us looking at us, and it's going to get pretty weird here in a minute. But what you want to do is to go into settings. So here's me looking at me, looking at you, looking at me, looking at you. Go into settings and then look for playback speed and quality. So right now it's on auto 480p, but you should be able to go all the way up to 1080p, right? So it doesn't, there should be plenty. I'm not going to pick that because I don't want to steal too much bandwidth from the upstream. So you should be able to pick that. Probably you're sitting at like 144 or 240 or something like that. So there's ways that you can fix that. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to what you guys have called in and go with the suggestions. Let's see. The first one I see is from Takafu. Takafu wants to talk about Cardano. Let's go to Cardano on the daily chart. Cardano has been absolute crap for months and months and months, going all the way back to 2021, has been in a wicked, wicked downtrend. And if you follow the 200-day moving average, which is in the green, you've stayed clear of this, but we're starting to see it breaking above the 200. So for the first time in literally a year and a half, we're starting to see it breaking above the 200-day moving average. So that is good. And we may actually have a buy signal coming up here as an end day buy signal above 39 cents. So that would be a valid buy with the stop on here. This is our trend trading signal and strategy that we have, which is also available. That's out there. If you look at ReadySetCrypto trend trading strategy, you can find this on TradingView. Okay, so I'm warming up to Cardano. It's not been very good. This may be the very first signal that we have on Cardano in a long, long time. Okay, so Tito wants to look at Chainlink. Let's do that. Let's look at Link versus USD. This one's just been a very choppy mess, and there's really no way to sugarcoat it. This thing's just been in a long-term base. I would say avoid this one until it's able to start. You can see the base being built right now, Tito. So you can see this base on a weekly chart. This is just basing. And when it's ready to accumulate, you'll see it start to break above 10. So if you want to, as a filter, you can use the 200-week moving average. Just wait until it gets above there, or wait until the weekly Heikin-Ashi candles start showing up green. But let this thing do whatever it needs to do, because right now the market is saying is that Chainlink is not worth anything. All right, so it's down at 750. It's been up to 50. Boy, this thing, I mean, for the longest time used to be the rock star. Chainlink was the rock star for the longest time, and it's just been kicked around in the gutter. So when everybody quits looking at it, this is when this will start to rally. Okay, next one. Let's see. How's everybody doing today? Zachariah coming in from Tangier, Morocco. Okay, Seb, we're going to look at QANX. These sound familiar. I think you've been here last week. QANX. I can't tell what you're holding. All right, QANX. Let's see. Okay, I don't know if your QNX token, it's probably not the same thing as this. Let's assume it's a wrapped ether one. None of these are very good. Let's try the one versus Tether. Let's see if we can get away with that. No, that's no good either. And that one stopped trading back in October. So that's no bueno. Did I have the same problem last week? I might have. Let's just look at this one here. I really can't get a good chart on this, dude. Really can't get a good chart on this. So I'm sorry, I can't find something. Okay, let's look at Hex versus Tether. Hex versus Tether. And we may have to use, let's try this one. Now we're getting somewhere with Hex. Hex has been an awful chart for the long period of time. We do have the beginning of a weekly trend here. We do have the beginning of a weekly swing up, but that needs to pull back down to create a weekly higher low before this thing really is going to get escape velocity. So you might expect to see a weekly higher low setting up. So while everything else is rallying right now, we might get some pullback or chop or something in this area for quite a while on Hex, because this has been a strong move. It's a very, very strong move and really good. But when you see a market which has gone this quickly, right, you're going to see some pain on the backside. You're going to see some pain on the backside. So be patient with this one. Let it set up for the weekly higher low. Okay, let's see what else we got there. Seb is also looking for AGIX. Again, that sounds familiar. AGIX versus Tether. Let's see. This one is just an utter unorganized mess right now. And there's not much that I can see with this at all. I mean, we can blow this up. We can add studies to it, but there's just no trend to this one at all. Nothing. And that's on Binance. And then the last one, ADVT. Let's try this one. Only thing I can do is Advantis on wrapped ether. I can't chart this any other way. And this one is not worthy of attention right now in a wrapped ether. I don't know if you've got a different cost basis or different currency basis on this one. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Hey, Aiken coming in from Nigeria. All right, Math wants to look at CFX. And if I miss you, please go ahead and repeat what you had to say. This one looks pretty good. This is CFX versus Tether. This one was, you could see where things changed here. This one was just terrible, 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 below the 200. And then something changed here back in January. This is where we get into, I think we looked at this one last week, where you start to see this type of stair-stepping movement on this one. And so we'll probably see with these big pullbacks, we'll probably see some good RSI Laguerre hooks. Here's one setting up like right now. An RSI hook is setting up right now for a long. Okay, so that looks really good. That's a nice looking asset. CFX Charlie, Foxtrot, X-Ray. Coming in through MAF. All right, CELR. So that's one great thing about these sessions is that, well, is that you're going to find out about things that you might not have known about. And that's certainly something that I see as well too. So this is a perpetual contract, CELR, and this is probably the best way for me to look at this. And I'm just going to bring this up on price and volume for a minute. And then we can look at this on also anchored VWAP, and we can take this off of the recent lows there. And the next anchor is going to be somewhere down at the beginning of the year is about 2.15 cents. But this is starting to transition. Notice the volume also. The volume is starting to transition into accumulation. So the other thing that you can check on this one in terms of a pullback is you can check the fib retracements from the recent bottom in March up to the highs up here. And right now this is holding close to the 38.2% retracement. I would like to see this thing go no lower than 50%. I'd like to see that confluence of support coming in at 50%. That's about 2.25 cents or so, 2.23. So 50% right there. I'd like to see support. I don't want to see it cut through that level. If it cuts through that level, I'd be out. I wouldn't look to enter it. Let it go. Okay, a couple of nice ones there, Matt. Willeke coming in from the Netherlands. Okay, Ike looking at BNB. All right, so we looked at BNB really quickly here. BNB's been going through some FUD. And, FUD round 2, this was the FTX debacle. This was the original Binance FUD number 1, and this is the CFTC going after Binance. So these are not technical. These are exogenous event related, or these are event risk related. So there's not much that we can do until that clears out. But right now it's still holding above support. It's still holding above some clusters of support and fib retracements. I'd like to see this thing stay above 310 for right now. If it's able to stay above 310, then it's got a chance to regain the uptrend. If it goes below 300, it's probably going to be over for right now. It's got to go through its little correction period. All right, Tuckafu, Ren. Looking at Ren, USDT. This is a really difficult chart to trade because it's so spiky, right? There's just so many. This almost looks like a pump and dump candidate, right? So you see so many of these candles that are so spiky, and this has the signature of somebody driving the price action and then fading it. So this looks like a pump and dump candidate, quite honestly, with those volume spikes in there. So unless those volume spikes are being driven by organic news, by the company saying, hey, we got a new project coming out, or there's new news, or we got a new business here. I don't know what they do. But unless it's driven by that, these are being driven by a low liquidity pump and dump, right? So somebody's able to manipulate the price and make it do what they want it to do. I would steer clear of this type of stuff. Okay, that is Ren versus US dollar. Bonjour, Perry. Could I please look at Filecoin? Yes. Rene from Flavortown. Did that ever stick? Flavortown? All right, so Filecoin kind of looks the same. It's really kind of a mess. I thought up until this point, I thought Filecoin was going to do really well because it had all kinds of volume coming into it. And for the first time since forever, it was above the 200-day moving average. Great big green bars. And it just has not been able to do anything. It just is still putting in lower highs and lower lows. I would avoid this one until it's able to grow up and get somewhere. But I don't like the look of this right now. I don't like the look of Filecoin. Okay, Tito. I'm looking at Polkadot. Tito wants to look at Polkadot. Let's see if we can find this one here. Here it is. Polkadot. Polkadot it's kind of like Cardano, but it just hasn't got anywhere. It's still hugging all these moving averages. And what that means is that it's setting up with one of these really long, ugly bases. And so you're going to get chopped up to pieces if you try to get in and out of that. I would wait until this thing, it's kind of like an airplane taking off on the ground, and it can't go fast enough to get air over the wings to get any kind of lift. So it just keeps bouncing along the runway, and it's getting close to the end of the runway, and at some point it's going to have to abort takeoff and swing around again for another try. You need that thing to get some lift under the wings. You need it to get some accumulation and some, V sub X, man. You need that thing up in the air, and it's just not doing it right now. What's about SNX? Did we look at that one already? SNX, synthetics. I don't think so. This one's kind of the same thing. We can get rid of these. Those are gone. Those are gone. We can get rid of these synthetics. This one is if this is not able to get above and beyond 270 like real soon, then I would not bother with this one, because this is just a whole series of lower highs in the weekly chart. Look, we've got stuff that's breaking out and going green and going crazy, and then you get synthetics, which is going nowhere. Right? If you're already in it, if you're holding bags, sorry to hear about that. If you're looking to get into it, I would wait until it starts to get out of that base well above 3.4. Okay, let's look at, we already looked at Ripple, Wilkie. So that was earlier in the broadcast. I will look at Stellar Lumens. Here it is, all the way down there. So Stellar, this is kind of like Cardano, because Stellar has been it's been awful for the longest time. Look at this. I mean, the last time it was above the 200-day moving average was in November of 21, when everything was going higher. And now that everything is going higher, it's finally getting some love, or finally getting some volume. People have forgotten about Stellar. And so today looks actually pretty good, and it's probably going to be throwing off a trend trading entry here. No, actually, I take that back. That was a few days ago. So this is an end day high, which is above 9.9 cents. So I'd like to see Stellar get out of this base here, which is bounded by about 10 cents. Get out of the basement, Stellar. So all of this has been happening now since November. And this is finally now getting out of the basement. So that's good. That's a good sign, but it needs a lot of volume to get out of there. So I'm not sure if it's going to make it today. But this one has some potential. Okay, Luxo. Let's look at Luxo. And oh boy, we gotta move along here. Luxo, okay, so let's look at this one. I don't like this. It was doing great until the middle of February, and this has been bad. So what this could be doing, who was asking this? This is Greenlight Crypto, right? So let's get rid of Mr. Aggressive Buy here, Mr. Conservative Buy. This is Luxo token. So this might be setting up a higher low on the weekly chart. This is the weekly chart. This might be setting it up. So we'll know fairly soon here if it's able to get above and beyond 10. So right now I would let it set up, but don't. I know somebody I'm working with right now that keeps going after weekly pullbacks, and that means that they're late. So the pullbacks, sometimes they take off and sometimes they keep on going down. But what I would do is I would wait for the price to, I would say, at least get above this lower high here, which is 10. Don't chase this one unless it's at least 10. Let the market show you that it's being accumulated. That's what I would do. All right. Oh my gosh, somebody's asking for Digibyte. Where's Barry? We haven't seen Digibyte Barry for like forever. Used to come in every week and say, could you look at Digibyte? Sure. Okay, so let's see, AXS for Tuckafu, and then we're going to be wrapping up here in just a minute. AXS for Tuckafu, again, below the 200, there's better things that are a lot stronger than this. This one needs to get above 14 before I would even look at this. So this one is still sucking wind really bad right now. So again, don't take that as a criticism. This is not me insulting your coin. Don't be religious about these things. This is the market's view of whether it thinks this is any good or not. AXS, was that Axie Infinity, or I don't remember this one. But so far, still below the 200. If it's below the 200, I don't want to look at it. Okay, let's see. Cosmos. We haven't seen Cosmos. Let's see. Is that? Yeah, there we go. This is below the 200. So it's, it's just been, it's a mess right now. This chart is a mess. It just can't accumulate. Compare that versus Litecoin. Look at Litecoin. It's like worlds different. Cosmos just can't get out of its own way. It was doing great until middle of February, and then everything since that point has been to trade down underneath the 200-day moving average. So avoid for right now. Avoid for right now. GMT versus Tether. Let's look at this one. This one's below the 200. This is no bueno. No bueno. And Litecoin. There's Litecoin. So let's go all the way up here. Let's look at this versus the chart. Litecoin has been really pretty good. This is one of the better trending ones, and it's starting to head higher. And what's important here is it's starting to put in an important higher low on the weekly chart. And what I'd like to see it do is to break above 101 here on this chart. I want to see it break above this and make a new high. And so it's doing everything right. It's flagging out. This is a nice little daily bull flag, and it should break above 96 or so. That's a buy program here, or a buy signal on our trend trading. So if it falls below 86 or 85 down here, if it starts to fall down, then this is a larger time frame, lower high, and that means that Litecoin has flamed out, for lack of a better term. So this has been one of the better trending ones, but right now it's going through a larger time frame, weekly pullback, needs to keep going, otherwise walk away from it. Okay, now we're going to do two more here. We're going to do Digibyte and then Rose. DGB, so Digibyte, I have not looked at this since Barry was here. And, not looking good. Digibyte is still very, very poor. Again, you have a choice, guys. You have a choice. When you compare this versus, something trending like this or something trending like this, you have a choice of what assets you put your money into. Don't buy something just because it's cheap. And that's what a lot of us do. And this is why Ripple has been, so talked about, because it's always been cheap. But Digibyte is still, has not really had, not since 2021 has Digibyte been in accumulation. And so let everybody else help you out. Don't be trying to lift an asset by itself just because you want it to go higher. Okay, so last one I'm going to do here is Rose, which is known by another term, which I'll find out here in a second. What is Rose? I know this has got a name for the token, but I just don't recall what it is. Somebody will, I'm sure, will fill me in. This one, again, is still in a big basing pattern. And this is kind of the theme for today, is that some of these assets are, I've just been holding Digibyte since 1999. Is that a Prince song? So this, just a great big base here with Rose. This is going to bother me now. What is the name of that? Oasis, thank you. Yeah, Rose, Oasis, Rose. Yeah, why? I must be stupid that I can't make the correlation between those two. Anyway, so this is Oasis, and it's still in a big base. So I would not chase this thing until it starts to make some noise above 8 cents, 9 cents or so. Still on a big base down here. So let it complete the base. Let somebody else do the heavy lifting. Don't try to lift these things out of the gutter by yourself. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you'd like more of this, come sign up for a free trial over at our site, which is Elite. So let me go over to that site. This is called ReadySetCrypto.ONE, ReadySetCrypto.ONE. You can sign up for a 1-week free trial, kick the tires, see if you like what we do. But we talk charts, we bring signals into here all the time, and it's only $39 a month, only $39 a month. Look at the trend trading signals coming in just over the last couple of days. Exits as well as entries, everything like that. So comes in every day. All right, my friends, I will see you guys next week. Thank you very much for joining me today. And this is the Good Doctor saying good evening, have a great week, and you guys be good now. We'll see you soon. Thanks.